Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to study Chapter 10, The Pie and the Tart by Hugh Chesterman from your SSLC 10th Standard First Language English Textbook Part 2. Before I begin, let me give you a brief introduction. The Pie and the Tart is a humorous play set in 15th century Paris. It tells the story of two hungry vagabonds, Jean and Pierre, who cleverly steal a pie and a tart from a pastry shop. The play shows their wit, courage, and funny situation that arise from their daring act. It is delightful tale full of comic situation and clever dialogue teaching us about resourcefulness and humor in everyday life. Children, now let me introduce you to the characters. The first character is Pierre, a hungry, restless vagabond, clever and daring. Vagabond meaning someone who is wanderer. The next character is Jean, pure companion, calm and thoughtful, also a vagabond. The third character is Gaultier, a pastry cook, wealthy, proud, and somewhat pompous. The fourth character is Marion, Gaultier's wife, clever, responsible, and attentive to instructions. The last character are vagabonds, that is Jean and Pierre together struggling with hunger. Now let's begin with first part, that is the vagabonds predicament. Jean and Pierre are extremely hungry and cold sitting outside Gaultier's cake shop. Pierre is pacing to keep warm while Jean sits quietly emphasizing their misery. They are witty, complaining about hunger and the cold, making the situation humorous. Students, now let me give you an example for this. Imagine waiting for your lunch on a freezing day, feeling miserable but trying to joke with your friend to pass the time. Now let's move on to the next part, that is plan to beg for food. Pierre decides to beg for food at the cake shop, instructing Jean on how to appear pitiful. The dialogue is humorous, showing their intelligence in planning. They exaggerate their hunger to convince the shopkeepers. Let me give you an example for this, like acting extremely hungry to get a free snack at a bakery, but doing it cleverly to succeed. The next part is Pierre's attempt fails with Gaultier. Pierre knocks on Gaultier's door but is rejected rudely. Gaultier is busy and dismissive. This builds the tension while maintaining comedy, showing the vagabond struggle. Let me give you an example for this. You politely ask a shopkeeper for food and are turned down, making you think harder about how to succeed to get the food. What should be the next plan? Now let's move on to the fourth part, that is Jean succeeds with Marion. Jean approaches Marion, Gaultier's wife, and uses politeness and clever words. Marion is cautious but finally gives him the pie. This shows cleverness, patience, and social cues as a part of the humorous scheme. Let me give you an example for this. You talk politely to someone in charge, earn their trust, and achieve your goal. Here, he got a pie. Now let's move on to the fifth part, enjoying the pie. Pierre and Jean enjoy the pie with admiration. They describe its taste, crust, and even feels humorously, showing their delight and exaggerating in and enjoying the dish. Let me give you an example for this. Eating your favorite dessert after a long day, savoring every bite and talking about it as if it is the best in the entire world. Now let's move on to the sixth part, that is attempting the tart. After enjoying the pie, they notice a tart and plan to get it using the same clever trick. Jean follows the plan. Pierre hides. Humor is maintained as they anticipate another successful theft. Let me give you an example for this student. Spotting another delicious dessert at a bakery and planning how to get it cleverly without being caught. Now let's move on to the next part, that is confusion and comic climax. Gaultier returns unexpectedly, causing confusion. Jean and Pierre cleverly navigate the situation. The story ends with them successfully obtaining both pie and tart. The humor arises from clever tricks and misunderstanding. Let me give you an example for this. Getting into a tricky situation but using quick thinking to turn it into your favor. Students, now let's see what is the conclusion. In the pie and tart, we see how two clever vagabonds, Jean and Pierre, use wit, humor, and courage to overcome hunger. The story is not just about stealing food, it shows human ingenuity, patience, and the joy of sharing small victories. The humor, exaggeration, and comic situation make it enjoyable while teaching us the value of clever thinking and problem solving. Students, now let's see what is the moral. Cleverness and quick thinking can help overcome difficult situations. Humor and wit can lighten even serious struggles. Teamwork and planning lead to success. Even in tough times, if you think smartly and work together, you can achieve your goals, and little humor makes life easier and enjoyable. Thank you, students, for listening. If you like the video, give a thumbs up, share, subscribe, do comment. See you in the next class. Until then, bye.